What's the question people never ask before marriage, but absolutely should?
I mean, I'll go to my earlier question,
Yeah.
which is, what is the problem to which marriage is a solution?
For you specifically.
Yeah, why am I getting married?
Yeah.
And why is this other person getting married? And are those goals aligned? I think that's a very worthwhile question. Yeah, I think that would be the best question to ask. I think is that what is the problem I am trying to solve by getting married? And what is the problem that this person is trying to solve? And are those goals aligned? I also think it's worthwhile to ask, at the risk of being unromantic, although it's fairly obvious I'm a romantic at heart, I think there's also some really practical questions people should ask. Like, are you a night person or a morning person? Are you okay with dishes in the sink? Because I'm not at all, ever. You know what I mean? Like, are you a neat freak? Or are you somebody that's kind of, do you leave your socks everywhere? Or can you tolerate someone who leaves their socks everywhere? I do tend to leave my socks everywhere. So I think, having some honest conversations about, you're not just going to, because your wife's your wife. She's also your roommate. She's also your business partner. She's also your vacation companion. She's got a whole bunch of job descriptions. Like, if that was a job description for your companies, it's a long one, So have some practical conversations about like the nuts and bolts of being married and the nuts and bolts of having a life together.
All right, somebodies, what is something that we don't do when we get in a relationship and we want to take that forever step with that person? Having just practical conversations and questions, just like the lawyer brought up. That, hey, like, a night person, day person, are you clean or dirty? Like, leave your stuff out there. And by the way, I like a clean house, okay? I'll clean it myself, and I would if some stop me from doing that. But nonetheless, in all these conversations. Also, when you get married, who are you marrying? Like the lawyer said, you're marrying a person that wears many hats and vice versa, right? Essentially, you're marrying a companion. Someone that's going to be there with you and for you, okay? That's what you're marrying into, and it's always better if you choose the right one. But I don't think we really ask these questions as simple as they could be. Why not? Because are we still so infatuated by the fact that we're with this person? And depending on the length of the relationship, like Jay and I always tout, 2 years minimum. Okay, I say 3, but 2 years minimum for sure. That way, it always says you get to know a person's seasons. Sorry, Jay, I'm taking your vernacular, but it makes total sense. And what else did the lawyer ask? Which I really had to think about. What does marriage solve for each person? The only thing I could think about, and that's not even set in stone. You are taking a person out of the market that they are no longer available for anybody else, and they are exclusive. And I say that's not even set in stone because there's cheating, right? If after a certain while the relationship doesn't go well and one person feels like it's okay to stray. So it's not that. Is it family that you're setting this one person to be the only father and mother to your children? Sure. But again, that means both of you, your father, husband, and wife, have to continue to make the marriage and relationship work, but figuring things out on how to try to keep harmony and not too many ups and downs in that roller coaster of love. So it gets really tough to try to define what do you get out of marriage between both of you? Love of your life? Sure, that could be it. And if you get it right on the first time, like my partner here, hey, more power to you. But just ask all the questions, all right? If there should not be any wrong question or wrong answer, so long as they're both honest. Things you need to know. Because otherwise, how are you comfortable continuously going day to day blindly in your relationship and marriage? How do you do that? I'll say something for me, because there was a fugue state for the first couple of years with my wife and I, which is it was the sexual chemistry we had. Okay, we had a rough patch, we had a conversation which felt okay, this takes care of it for now, and then let's go be amorous, okay? I'm sure there's more people that take this common practice. If you do, put it in the comments section, let us know, or let us know what your practice is to try to have a good day and build on that day for towards the next day when you're in the marriage. But ultimately, what are your reasons for getting married? I felt it was because I I always say here that I knocked up my wife within 3 months, and then we went ahead and took the rodeo into the marriage and the relationship. But prior to that, I fell in love with her. I truly did, and she had fallen before me. And I guess I don't want to say trying to hang on to that feeling, because you continue to work at that. So it's not hanging on. It's just, hey, it's always been this. But you really just put everything out there, somebody's, because otherwise you're going to get towards the later years in your marriage and you're going to start thinking, why am I still here? And that's not the right way to approach it either. So figure it out. What does marriage do for you? What does it solve? And if it makes sense for both of you, then go for it. Otherwise, keep talking.
I think that was a good question that the lawyer asked, and I think people should ask that of themselves, like, why are you getting married? What is the reason? What is your purpose? What is your why of getting married? And that can be difficult to answer, especially if you're not with the right person. Because one thing God's put on my heart, and something I'm trying to work on as far as like a project, is why are you getting married? What is the purpose? What is your reason for getting married? Your core values have to align. If they do not, it is not going to work. And as the lawyer said, ask a lot of questions. I believe my wife brought a book called, I think it's called 1,001 Questions to Ask, either before you get married, something along those nature. And you want to try to learn as much as you can about the person you're going to marry. You're not going to learn everything about anyone. I don't care how long you've been together. There's still things me and my wife surprise each other about. So it's very important to have like a checklist of things you really need to know before you get married. Yes, people can just simply get divorced because you sneeze or you blink your eyes, whatever the case may be, how people get divorced nowadays, because whatever they don't like. But yeah, you want to see people through all their seasons, especially when they go through bad or tough times. You want to see how they react, because if it's in a way that you normally don't handle it, it can drain on you, and you don't want that in your marriage. You guys always want to be on a good foundation. So yeah, I agree with the lawyer. There's just a lots of things. People, they don't just get married for the right reasons. So figure out what your reasons are. Talk about expectations of a marriage, because a lot of people, they don't have expectations. They just feel it's the next step if they've been together for so long. Or someone will say, we've been together this amount of time. I need to be married. May not say why, or they might articulate why it's important for them to be married. And the person's like, yeah, either I don't believe in it, or I don't want to, or it's not going to change anything. So you hear a lot of those reasons or excuses, but people don't understand the purpose of being married. Yes, there's benefits to being married, and there's disadvantages of being married if you are not married to the correct person.